We live? Is anyone out there? Oh, let's see here. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. I always until one of you validates it, I never know if this thing is working. I always have a fear of technology. Uh, let's see. Move it a little closer here. Hopefully that solves it. Usually it does, just getting the microphone up close. Hello, Josh, Howard, Greg, Banya, Brian, two Brians, Greg, Stephen, um, well, thanks. Thanks, environmental or Canadian. You need a shorter handle. I don't know. Even if I use only one of the words, it's still long. Oh, man. This is my first day. I have my office back. My daughter is moving, and she was stopped over here for about 10 days on her way from California to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Um, Josh, I want to find out. I'm going to find out if we can put a plow on a Cybertruck. Well, I'm sure you can put a plow on a Cybertruck. The question is, will you void the warranty? Because you can put a plow on anything you put your mind to put a plow on. Let's see here. Oh, Calvin, I will not remember that probably. I can barely remember my own kids' names. So anyway, yeah, I was kicked out of my this is my daughter's old room. So when she came home, we had to put an air mattress in here, and the whole whatever studio got shut down. So that was why I didn't do my live stream last week. Let's see here. Perth. That's that's a long Western Australia. Just being in Australia wasn't far enough away from the world. You had to be in Western Australia. I have a connection as someone who can do some renders or even let's see. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. If anybody wants to lend their if anyone's good at graphic design or doing renders, I do have, there's this image already up here. So, um, okay, Ben, you can always check back and you can always watch it later, but I know you like to participate. Hello, Irv. Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Still not quite 8 o'clock yet. Buffalo. I've been to Buffalo. It kind of reminds me of Wichita, except with a big waterfall. Let's see here. Hello, Erwin. Gareth, 5,000. All right, 8 o'clock. So, I don't know. This probably isn't going to be a super long stream tonight. I had a few things I wanted to cover. And in relationship to the list that I put out on Cybertruck accessories, I have some thoughts on after putting the list out there, finally, the power rankings of features and accessories, it was really good for me to go through the process of creating that list and then doing the video, because it made me really think about, first of all, it made me think to get down to 15, but then it really made me think again about the list, because I think there's some clearly emerging top tier features and accessories that, to me, if Tesla can accommodate them, we're gonna have something, a very remarkable vehicle on our hands. Now, I think we obviously already have a remarkable vehicle, but one of the things that everybody has wondered about is, especially like I've seen on the forums and people asking, is the Cybertruck a truck? And one of the things that doing this list made me think about, or made me think about what the Cybertruck is and what it has the potential to be. And I started thinking about the Cybertruck in an entirely different way, and not as a truck, and not even as a vehicle in the classic sense of the word. The thing is that when you look at Tesla's unique skill set and their advantages and the way they think about technology and software and electronics, and then you combine that with the possibilities that a truck presents in terms, especially this particular platform, with the capacity to have a much more integrated bed with the cab, even if we don't get the full pass-through, which I'm hoping we do. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But thinking about some of the other things that were on the list, the solar ability to integrate solar and having a sort of a integrated solar system, and the ability to add lights and cameras and controls and all of that, all of those components, you start thinking about what people do with regular pickup trucks, which is, in my opinion, maybe someone can correct me, but as far as I can tell, between pickup trucks and then I would say kind of like hardcore off-road SUVs, Jeeps, and the like, they're by far the most customized vehicles that are out there. I mean, people spend a tremendous amount of money upgrading lights and adding accessories and all kinds of different features to their vehicles. And so I was thinking about all of that, the list, and where we like, what is it that we want to pester? If we could only bug Tesla for one or two or three things, I kind of said I was going to try and narrow it down to 5, but it became obvious to me that there was really 2 or 3 things that were really at the top of the list. So let's see. I'm just going to look at this and see if anybody has any. What do you guys think I'm going to say about the Cybertruck? Is it a truck? If it's not a truck, what is it? Let's see. Yeah, well, I am very excited about the suspension. I'm going to do a whole nother new video on the suspension. I might do it on the, I'm trying to decide. But now, a bunch of months into it, I feel like I would have a better take on the suspension, or I don't know. I got to go back and watch my original video. Okay, so the thing that I think the Cybertruck is unlike any other vehicle. I think it's going to be a platform. And by a platform, you can say other things are platforms, but what I mean by a platform is that the way that Tesla has an opportunity to do something here is they have a way to integrate the electronics in such a way that, and I think Mark, he said this, Mark, I don't know if your phrasing of this was something you picked up somewhere else, or you just came up with it in the comments, but the plug and play peripheral system. And Mark corrected me and said, yeah, it's more like a Mac than a PC. I was saying PC as a illustration. I'm actually a Mac person. So, and that's what I was thinking in terms of, but the concept is basically that they have the opportunity to design an infrastructure, an electrical computational infrastructure in the Cybertruck that makes it infinitely customizable with an infinite array of options by transforming the way that we install and control peripheral devices and power them. So install, control, and power. Now, I don't know how practical this is. I'd be really curious. I know there's some electrical engineers out there that watch my channel, but the idea is USB, right? We have the USB ports that they're bidirectional. Power is bidirectional. And you just take any connection with a USB and you put it in, and the system recognizes what it is and it knows what to do, and it lets you interact. So I can take, my mouse, plug it into the USB, and then plug up my auxiliary monitor in another one, and suddenly my mouse can interact with the monitor. But if you think about that and you scale that up and you think about the capacity that the Cybertruck has of being kind of a combination of a computer and the hub of an energy sort of ecosystem, and revolutionize a whole new design architecture around how we use and interact with these devices, just making them plug and play. And as far as the platform concept, the reason that I'm saying it's a platform, it's not really a truck, is I think that the level of customization and the purposes, and we've all speculated about it, we've all seen the different renders and all the different cool things that people could do with it. But what they have the ability to do is make a lot of those upgrades and customizations super simple, not require that you go out and you hire some custom someone to put it in, or spend time putting it in yourself. I would never wire my own stuff up on my vehicles. I'm not an electrical guy. I'm none of that stuff. So every time I've had stuff installed on my trucks, I've always had, the upfitters do it. And they have the ability to basically design the truck in such a way that we can plug whatever we want into it, wherever we want, and the system itself decides what to do with it. Oh, am I supposed to be putting power in or taking power out? Am I supposed to be controlling this? What am I supposed to be doing? It would totally revolutionize vehicles. And think about, no one else could do this. I can't imagine anyone else having the in-house expertise to do this. This would put the Cybertruck on another level. I mean, it's already on another level, but that's kind of the trajectory that I see this pathway going down, is making the Cybertruck not necessarily focusing on any one particular feature, but trying to advocate for the elements in a Cybertruck that would give it the most amount of flexibility to the most amount of users and allow them to customize it themselves off the shelf, just plug and play. So let's see. Yeah, you can do a lot. I know, I'm sure the whole rack thing, I'm not sure if that's what we're talking about, is the rack with the welding. But let's see here. Yeah, needs to float. That's not going to make the top of the list. I don't want I'll personally tell you, you do not want a truck that floats when you're doing water crossings. Let me just tell you right now, you want a truck that sticks in there. So I say floating optional. That's what I say. Let's see. Yeah, Mark, I don't understand what that means. I mean, flat wiring, yes, I understand that. I thought they were doing the flat wiring in order to make automating the wiring installation easier. Are you just saying that as an illustration, like what they can do? Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Development API. Yes. That's what I'm getting at. That's the conversation as I've been doing this, the idea of the app store with third-party integration, development API, and an electrical, computational, whatever you want to call that. I don't know the right word, but make it full of USB type outlets, but supersized to deal with larger electrical connections. And I think that's really what we're talking about is infinite customization. You know, back when the iPhone came out, I think there were like 7 apps, and it wasn't until, you know, I don't know how much longer when they came up with the idea of opening up the development for the App Store and letting third parties integrate with it. But that's really what made the iPhone take off, was the fact that it could be customized to do all kinds of stuff. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, well, that's, yeah, external cameras, external lighting. It doesn't, all that stuff. If you have the equivalent of a supersized USB system, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so now I want to talk about mid-gate pass-through. So this has still been everyone's kind of number one. And a couple of people on the comments mentioned the problem with the tonneau cover as it rolled up into here and down, the fact that it would act like a guillotine and it would be problematic for getting, like trapping people or slicing someone's dog in half or some such. But the reason I don't see that as being a problem is, think about your garage door, right? I'm assuming a lot of you have powered garage doors. Then they have a sensor on them. As soon as it senses that there's something bumping it, it just stops. It's got like that pressure sensitivity to it. And in fact, Tesla with the Falcon Wing door, they already have that thing. When it closes, it can sense if there's an obstruction there, and it just won't close. It'll just wait until the obstruction is cleared. So I think the bigger question would be, if the tonneau cover retracts fully, is there enough room in the bottom of the Cybertruck for the whole thing to roll up so this is open? But again, I don't see this as being that big of a deal. It won't roll when there's an obstruction. It'll just have a very sensitive system for stopping it from rolling. So one of the things I forgot to mention that people reminded me of with the mid-gate pass-through and fold flat seats. Now, I wanted to revisit fold flat seats here in a second, but the thing that this gives you, if you do that, is you can put a full sheet of plywood. So this is an Avalanche, or maybe, I don't think it's not a Ridgeline, right? I'm pretty sure that's an Avalanche. So yeah, so you could do this, and then the tonneau cover closes, so you actually have a massive secure cargo area, and you can see the Avalanche had those fold flat seats in it as well. So I think that at least fold flat back seats, or something I'm going to talk to you about in a second, because this came up a bunch in the comments too, about the fold flat seat idea and the console. There's definitely controversy around the console, but this system really does revolutionize how we can use the Cybertruck, and it makes it much more practical for contractors, because this is how all plywood is done in these 4x8 sheets and sheetrock. And so that's a major advantage, is being able to fit a full sheet of plywood or a full sheet of sheetrock in the truck and close it up and secure it. That's a huge deal. And I totally forgot about that when I was talking about the mid-gate pass-through. But again, you really do need the fold flat seats there in order to accommodate that. But again, from what yes, people are that definitely is still like the top thing most people want. This is looking at it kind of from the front seats back, but you look at how massive that is, and you think about all the different the utility that it brings to essentially have this as an enclosed space. It almost becomes like a super SUV. So yeah, I just think that's going to stay at the top of the list. I can't see that's got so much potential doing that. So now I want to show this. So let's see. I want to see anything else. Well, I think the pass through is doable. I just think that's why I'm trying to refine it. So hopefully we can really start pestering Elon and the Tesla team to accommodate these ideas. So I wanted to talk about the dynamic range extension, dynamic charging. So this is the new F-150, electric F-150. Because people have been criticized. I know there's a bunch of purists out there that criticize me because I'm talking about using a gas generator to dynamically extend the range of the Cybertruck or batteries. But I knew solving this problem would totally transform how people think about the Cybertruck. And guess who also knows that? The company that knows more about pickup trucks than just about anybody on planet Earth, and that's Ford. It did not surprise me at all to see Ford coming out with this, because I just knew. That's why from the very beginning I was like, it's got to have dynamic range extension. It's got to have the ability to get auxiliary power from an auxiliary battery or a generator. Well, Ford's doing it. They got a patent here that lets them put, I wonder if they're gonna, it lets them put it looks like a toolbox type thing that you can slide in that will plug into the Ford electrical system and will actually let you dynamically charge the battery. So again, this is one of those things. A range extender like this could theoretically be filled by diesel, high alcohol gasoline mixture, or a hydrogen fuel cell, or a battery, another battery. My point is that if Cybertruck doesn't do this, I think they're gonna lose a chance to make serious inroads into the hardcore truck community. I think people that don't do a lot of towing, like me, I don't do hardly any towing. Doesn't matter to me, or what towing I do is not that big of a deal. But people that do towing, they have got to solve this issue, because people aren't going to want to have to try and limit their loads and limit their distances all around superchargers. But B, there aren't any pull-through superchargers yet, or hardly any of them. So if you have a gas range extender and you can't find a pull-through supercharger, and you don't want to mess around with decoupling and backing in, and you have a gas generator, you just put some gas in and off you go. And I think that if you really want the Cybertruck to get once Ford starts producing these, I think people are going to, the hardcore truck community is going to be inclined to go in this direction, unless Cybertruck can match it, because that's such a huge deal. It's just massive. So yeah, Rivian had a battery toolbox, but I don't know what the difference is, but Ford is explicitly designing this to accommodate a hydrocarbon. And again, you can be as critical as you want about this, but I'm just telling you, if Cybertruck doesn't accommodate this, and Ford does. Ford's going to take market share away from Cybertruck that it wouldn't otherwise lose. So it just seems absolutely insane to me that they would not solve this issue. It's just insane to me. All right. Let's see. Yeah. What? I don't know. Yeah, I can't follow. I'm trying to jump in and figure out what y'all are talking about here. The pass-through messes with the tonneau function. I don't know how it would mess with the tonneau function. You just have to fully retract. All you'd have to do, instead of the tonneau cover stopping the way it does right now, it stops at the top of the ridge so it's retracting around a spool. I think there's a spool. That's how I've seen it on other things, like, other sliding retractable doors. They have this spool. And so it's just retracting and it's stopping there, but it doesn't have to stop there. They're stopping there because they weren't thinking about a pass through. But in my mind, as long as there's enough room in the base, you could keep spooling that tonneau cover all the way down. It's like a roll top desk, no big deal. Okay, let's see. All right. So that's that. Okay. Now I wanted to just show you this. This is not anything special. This is a van, like they do upfits for like Sprinter vans and as far as turning them into RVs and other recreational purposes. And they have these removable seats. So here, I'll just... It's not that big of a deal. I remembered back in the day, I have 5 kids. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this, but back in the day, we used to have one of those big old Ford Econoline, like 3 bench seats. And they made those bench seats. You could actually just I can't remember. I thought there were just like some levers that you just twist them and you could pull the whole seat out. And in fact, out here in redneck country, occasionally you'll see a redneck outdoor love seat. That's one of those old vinyl van seats just still sitting out. Definitely if you get down in the Ozarks, you see some of that action. So anyway, but my point is the one of the comments was, hey, instead of worrying about what kind of seats or what kind of options you have for the back seat, what if they made it removable? What if they made all the seating removable or modular? Now, I don't think they're going to, it's harder to do with the front seat because you're integrating like heat and all that other stuff into it. But I could absolutely see aftermarket companies coming up with options that would allow us to do anything we want with those back seats, as long as there's not, some structural reason. I think we could see a lot of people getting creative with that back seat space, custom, and upfitters making kits that could be put in relatively easily. Now, my preference would be they would have something like this. That would be awesome, just to be able to remove them or swap them. Let's say they have the fittings in there. You pull that seat out. There's an aftermarket seat maker and they have some other cool configuration and you just swap it out. I think that was a suggestion from somebody. I thought that was pretty clever. But I don't know how practical it is. I just know it doesn't seem like it should be that hard to do something like this. Okay, so let's see. All right. Custom brothel. Only in Vegas. Let's see here. I don't know, Brian. The tonneau covers, that are available now. You could be right, but I'll bet there's a spool, but maybe not. Who knows? I don't have much of an opinion on that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Oh, the Astravans. I didn't know that. 3 kids, 2 dogs. Do you bring your chickens with you? I hope not. That's a long trip with your chickens in the vehicle with you. Okay, so I don't think I have. Yeah, like I said, short thing. Anybody? I was just gonna mention this. I'm going to stream live the Hummer reveal next week. So I don't know exactly. I got to figure out, 8 p.m. Let's see, on the 20th. What's today? Today's what, the 15th? Isn't it a Monday or Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. To me, this is going to be really interesting. Obviously, so far, it only seems like the only legit competitor for a pickup truck has been the Rivian, which hats off to Rivian. They're just going about their business. I'm super excited about what Rivian is doing. I can't wait to drive one. I think they're awesome rigs, and I love what they're doing. I'm very excited about Rivian's emerging position in the truck and van sort of world. But this is going to be our, there was the reveal of the the Lordstown truck. That's pretty sketchy to me. There's a lot of things I don't know. This seems pretty legit. The Hummer, they've really, first of all, I think they've done a really good job identifying a niche that will pay a premium, and that the electric, the advantages of an electric powertrain will be appealing for what they're doing. And it's a similar niche to what Rivian has kind of gone after, that premium adventure, whatever you want to say, recreational / person that'll probably never take them off road, but they think it sounds cool, which makes me sad. But anyway, I am going to be streaming this just because I think this will be interesting. So next week, instead of doing this, we're going to do this and stream the Hummer reveal. And I got to say, I'm pretty excited to see it. It feels to me like GM is trying harder than it feels like any of the other truck companies are trying. We'll see about Ford. I'm hopeful. I would really like both of them to find their footing here with electric vehicles. I think, as I mentioned before, we've got a lot of people here in the Midwest that work at those places. So I know they've made a lot of missteps, but I hope that they can stitch together a plan to get to the other side of this combustion vehicle apocalypse. Let's see. All right. I'm sure, to me, I'm trying to think of if it makes sense for Tesla to do a delivery van or a van when there's so much competition already coming into that space. Maybe they will. I think, again, it gets to the whole battery constraint. And I think the market for the semi is going to be so overwhelming that I think they're going to have a really hard time just keeping up with the Cybertruck and the semi demand for batteries, at least for a while. So maybe they do a van. I don't know. It seems like, I don't know. I don't know how they provide the batteries for it. And I think the margins on the semi are going to be better. I've been thinking about I'm really interested in the semi from a business standpoint. We have enough interaction with the trucking world. I'm not into it, but we work with a lot of guys that are into trucking, mostly on the construction side, rock and gravel and hauling salt in the winter. So not freight, but I know enough people that I'm sure I could get enough good information about the economics on the trucking side and the cost of running the diesels to see. But apparently, the payoff on the semi is going to be pretty quick, a couple, 3 years, something like that, unless I misunderstand the value proposition. But when I did that, I did a video about the Nikola business model and I couldn't figure out how the hydrogen fuel cell, and I know now it's a question, will it even happen? But I couldn't figure out how their business model would work, because it seemed to me with the way that the battery cost curve and efficiency and the weight gains were going to be accelerating, that the electric was going to be almost just a no-brainer. And I also have reached out to some electric power equipment people, electric mowers and that kind of thing, just to see if they'd be willing to talk to me about construction, other kinds of equipment that would sort of run, contractor grade heavy equipment and commercial grade landscaping equipment and stuff like that. I know it's kind of nichey, but it's super cool. That world is coming along. I'm excited to see how that unfolds. I was just talking to one of my subs last week, and he was telling me that there are already electric heavy equipment out there. Maybe they're just prototypes, but like big excavators and other equipment. So yeah, he said it's the future. Everyone knows it. And this isn't a guy that, he's not in Tesla world. He's just saying, he's just a contractor and he follows closely the trends. So anyway, Workhorse. I've seen some of the buzz about it, as far as like people thinking it might be another Nikola. It kind of doesn't matter. They're not alone. There's a UK company that just opened up a micro manufacturing facility in, I think, Charlotte, that has a contract to do a bunch of UPS vehicles. There are other companies. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole commercial truck space, especially the middle size, the van to like what's called the Class 7 trucks, which are like dump trucks and kind of like the 25 to 45,000 GVRW trucks. They're China. There's several manufacturers in China that are making them. BYD and there was another one, but it just seems like to me, it's kind of nichey. I think semis are going to be really hard for anyone to compete, and I think that's why Tesla is the way they've anchored their value proposition competitively makes a lot of sense to me, because it's really hard for people to get the performance that Tesla can get in order to make a semi practical. Long haul semi, it's almost like unassaultable. And then I think the Cybertruck, that anchor right there, I think that's a sweet spot. Now I do know that they're talking about making these like pods for the Boring Company. So maybe that would be a van type thing. I don't know. But again, I think that would be limited use. I just think they're going to have, I think their batteries are going to get consumed in a bunch of other places, and that's already a competitive market, already a bunch of players in it. It doesn't make sense to me, but who knows? Let's see. Two people are making the flat. Well, two people are trying to make the flat skateboard. Bollinger is one, and Atlas is another. I'm going to talk about Atlas here because I really like what Atlas is doing, and no one's talking about them, and they probably won't make it. I mean, they're like tiny, but their design, I love Atlas's design by far, from like an F250, F350 kind of platform. I feel like Atlas I really like what Atlas is doing because they're doing dual axles and tandem axle um, skateboards with just the cab, so you can totally customize it. Bollinger is doing the same thing, but Bollinger, I don't know who's going to buy a Bollinger at 100 and whatever, 25,000 bucks. Ba 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 ba. All right. Boop 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 boop. All right. I think that's it. That's good. I'll post. I'll put up a link on the morning for this, so everyone knows that we're doing it. But just so you know, I'm gonna do this instead of I'm gonna do the live stream of the Hummer next week instead of this. So, I don't like the Endurance. That's very. I don't get it. That's the right way to say it. It's not that I don't like it. I don't get it. It doesn't. It doesn't have a place in the. It's not a performance vehicle. It's not a hardcore work vehicle. I mean, it can only tow like, I think like 500 pounds or something. It only gets, I think it only gets like, I can't remember. I'd have to go look at it. When I went and looked at the stats, I was like, man, this is not really impressive. And the design, man, I do not like the design. It looks like they were just trying to mimic kind of a pickup truck. I just don't like them. Yeah, so, but more it's the performance. Like, I don't get I don't understand where Lordstown is gonna find their niche. Unless, yeah, I know they're getting a bunch of endorsements from the president and all that other stuff. But in the end, the market's going to decide. It doesn't matter what anybody says. I mean, it's got to find a home in the market, and I don't get where it goes. Like, it's not cheap, and it's not high performance. I don't get it. I mean, it's not low. It's low-ish. It's like 50 grand. I mean, if you put it up to the dual motor Cybertruck, it's not even close. Not even in the territory of close. Maybe some fleets. I could see maybe some fleets doing it. But honestly, I bet the F-150, once they get that thing rolling, that's what people are going to want. Because I think F-150 is not going to get crazy with their styling. And people like the F-150. And I can see them easily upfitting that to an F-250. So, yeah, I don't know where Lordstown lives in this world. It doesn't make sense to me because they got a long runway in front of them and not a clearly defined market as far as I can tell. 56. Yeah, it's 56. Is that after or before the subsidy? I think that's before. Because I remember thinking it's about the same price as a dual motor and thinking, I don't know who's going to buy this instead of a dual motor or the electric F-150. So, because I think the electric F-150 is going to try and court the fleet side and the classic pickup truck side. And they're going to, I expect once they get rolling, for Lordstown to be in this competitive nomad's land. Like, who are they going after? Hummer makes sense to me. Rivian makes sense to me. And F-150 makes sense to me. Cybertruck makes sense to me. Those all make sense to me competitively. And I can even see a place for Atlas if they can fund their way, if they have good enough capacity. But Lordstown just is like, meh. It's just meh. That's what I think of it. Meh. You look at the specs, you look at its range, you look at its towing, you look at its speed, the cost, the design even. To me, the design is just meh. Maybe that's just me. All right. Well, I'll say this about the Midgate Irv. I don't think Elon would have said it's worth considering. And the fact is that they've already confirmed there's going to be a partial mid-gate pass-through, which they thought was that armrest area. So you could put like skis, or skis, I guess, would fit in there. Lumber, small pass-through. So I think I think it's, he wouldn't have said that if he didn't think it would be a workaround. So, all right. Well, anyway, I think that's it. We'll talk to you next week, guys. Have a good one.